Hello and good morning, my friend. It has been a while since we sat and had a coffee chat. I know that many of you have been tuning into the weekly download that I normally release on Sundays, and today I've got something a little different for us. I had something kind of big happen this week. Something that at the time I thought was embarrassing. I thought was extremely unfortunate for my career. And to be honest, it really questioned all of this work that I've been doing, all of this inner work that I've been doing. And today I want to share that with you because I have a whole new perspective now that I've slept on it, now that I've gotten a little bit of space from it. So to give you an idea of what happened, it's a little uncomfortable. I was in a conversation with a client, and this is one of my accounting clients, not one of my coaching clients. And our conversation got heated. I set a boundary and got pushback. And so I said it again, and I got pushback again. And both of our voices raised, and I conceded. I said, fine, I'll just do it. And then I took a breath, and my body was fully lit up. I was shaking, my voice was quivering, and this is all happening on Zoom. I'm not even in a room with other people. And instead of powering through like I normally would have done, I said, I'm really flustered right now. I need a minute. And they said, okay. I put myself on mute. Turned my video off, and I walked out of the room. I went straight outside into the sunshine, and I started shaking my body because I could just feel there was this like really high energy stuff happening in my heart. And I was like, ah. As soon as I walked outside of the door into that sunshine, I started bawling. So I'm like full energy release. I'm out there, I'm crying, I'm shaking, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe I freaking just did that. I can't believe that just happened. In all of my years of having difficult conversations with people, I have never, ever raised my voice like that. And it felt so confrontational, and it felt so incredibly uncomfortable. It took me a solid 5 minutes. I didn't time it, but probably at least a solid 5 minutes to get into a state where I could speak again. And so I took a deep breath, took a couple sips of water, I walked back into the room, and they had closed out of the Zoom, which of course sent me into a second spiral. And I thought, oh my gosh, these people must think I'm crazy. I probably just lost this account for us. And the mind started spinning its web. And so I again walked back outside, started shaking again, started crying all over again. And my partner was home, and he's like, what do you need? And I was like, I don't know right now. I was like, I just need to get this out. And he's like, well, why don't you go for a walk? And I was like, great idea. So I tied up my shoes, went out for a walk, and I started talking. For me, I am, if you follow human design, I am a self-projected projector, which means I speak my truth. My throat is connected to my G center. Everything that comes out of my G center is my truth. It's how I can do these videos in one take, and I just speak from who I am. And so when I do, and it gets shut down or pushed back on like it did in the call, I get really, really sensitized to it. So I went on my walk, speaking my truth, listening to what I was saying, and essentially I dug myself into a little bit deeper hole before I started to dig myself out. And I'm sharing this with you today because I just want you to know that no matter how much work you've done or you haven't done yet, you're gonna have moments where you think to yourself, is any of this really working? Because that's what happened to me. And I have invested tens of thousands of dollars. I have daily practices and rituals that I do every single day to strengthen my nervous system and do things that prepare me for discomfort. And yet still, I had a moment that completely triggered me and set my body into a state that I took a lot of practice to recover from. And I'm getting this since I have to mention this right now too. That's the practice. This morning, when I sat down and was digesting, processing this experience again, I saw just how much I had grown. If you know anything about nervous system regulation or polyvagal theory, we have 3 different states that our nervous system operates from. One being the regulated state, rest and digest, everything is great. The next being fight or flight, which is like that highly anxious, your body's pumped full of adrenaline, you're ready to run, you're ready to go. And the third is that freeze state, where basically you're like, I'm not even here. I'm going to numb out. I'm going to pretend I don't exist. My body's going to completely shut down so I don't have to feel the feels because they're just too intense. I'm that person. That's my normal state of, if I'm triggered, I go into I feel nothing. I pop out of my body instantaneously. That is my protective measure. That's what my body has chosen and gained comfort in, is I just won't feel it. Yesterday, I didn't drop to that state. I dropped to fight or flight and hovered. And so I've heard it described as like a ladder. You have regulated, a couple steps down the ladder, you have fight or flight, a couple steps down the ladder, you have freeze. I didn't drop to freeze. I didn't numb out. I didn't avoid. I didn't step back from the conversation and concede. I put my dukes up. And to me, as much as I was embarrassed by the fact that I was confrontational, I'm also proud of myself for setting a boundary multiple times. I'm proud of myself for standing in my power and saying what was right and true for me, even though it was met with resistance. And I'm even more proud of the fact that when the peak moment passed and I was still in a very flustered, very activated state of body, instead of numbing that, instead of pushing it down, instead of pretending it wasn't there, I asked for what I needed. I said, I need a moment. And I walked out. And I did what I needed to do to get my nervous system back online. I couldn't see that when I was in the moment. I couldn't see that in the walk after it happened. I could not see that even until today. And to be honest, there's probably more there that's going to come forward in the next couple days as I continue to learn about myself through this experience. I share this with you today because there's a strong message that's coming through for me. On the full moon, I drew an animal guide card, and the animal that I drew was wolf spirit, and its message was turn knowledge into wisdom. And that is what I did yesterday. I practiced. I did what I've been practicing, and I did it from a state of automatic experience. Maybe that's not the best way to describe it. I didn't have to think about it. It was the new habit. That's the way I want to describe it. I didn't have to say to myself, pause, take a breath. How are we feeling right now? We're feeling totally lit up and like we want to rip her head off right now for coming at me. Okay, what do we need to do to make that happen? Not rip the head off, but get us back into a state of nervous system regulation so we can have this conversation calmly. Oh, we should go outside, or we should shake our body, or none of that happened. I just did it. And so whatever you're experiencing right now, there's a lot of stuff happening planetary wise. There's a lot of stuff happening collective energy wise. There are activations streaming in that are literally lighting up parts of you that are super uncomfortable, and it's happening for a reason. Wednesday was one of the most uncomfortable moments that I've had in a really long time. I have been anchoring calmness and ease and grace and flow, and I have felt elated. And then I also felt really, really angry. And you can probably even hear it in my voice just telling the story back. When I touch on that experience, it's still lit up. There's still more for me to learn from it. So what I really want you to, I guess, the reason I wanted to share this with you today is because, I'm excited. No matter where you are on your journey, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And no matter what you're feeling, and whether you feel like you're backsliding down the hill, just know you're being, I am really tripping over these words. Let's, take a breath with me for a second. Let's sink into this. You are being given an opportunity to show what you've learned. You are being given an opportunity to demonstrate everything you've been practicing. You are being given an opportunity to show up as the person that you're becoming. That is what is happening. This world is going to take us on a crazy ride. You're going to go through these spirals that take you back through the lessons that you think I already learned that. And each time, they're going to challenge you in a new way, because we came here to learn, we came here to grow, we came here to evolve. And so no matter what is happening, just know that you are not alone. This has been one of the most challenging weeks I've had in a long time. And also, as I sit in stillness, non-stillness actually, as I sit in process, I'm seeing the gifts, and I'm seeing just how far I've come by doing the daily practices. So, as I mentioned, this is not the weekly download, but it was something that felt very important to share. I'm going to ask for just a little support. There's more to this story, and it's tender. I feel called that when the time is right, I will share it. But even just a, simple like on the video to show me that this is something that you would like to see more of, or maybe drop a comment. It'd be great. It's nice to know that I'm being heard and being received. And if this isn't for you, please don't. Stay true to yourself. Know what's true for you. Only take the action that feels right for you. I would never ask you to do something that's out of your character, as I'm practicing being in mine. So I hope you have a better week. Maybe you didn't have a bad week. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. And I will see you again next week. All right, talk to you later. Bye.